Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. I am very happy to have on the channel with me today. We've got Skratch Plays, Cold Brew Gaming, and MtgJedi, because these are the three contestants for our next event in the faction games. I'm talking about Arena, and this one I'm actually really excited about. I think this is going to be one of the more exciting of all the events. Might go a little bit longer stream-wise, because all these folks are going to have to challenge the arena defenses of all the other opponents. So they're each going to have 6 fights with their arena offensive teams. Not to mention they have to set an arena defense with that same faction. I think it's going to be very exciting. So hey, fellas, thanks for being here. How are you guys feeling about this contest coming up?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Actually, pretty excited. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun here. Gonna have tons of different champions to try out, considering they were on the test server. It's something that I always wanted to do anyway, so I feel like it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I think it's gonna be pretty interesting to see the teams you're bringing. What about you, MTG? Do you have any secret sauces up your sleeve for this event?
I'm a sauce guy. I don't know if you know that. I'm very saucy.
I'm saucy. I'm so saucy.
I'm a sauce expert, so I have all of the sauce lined up and organized, ready to go. And obviously, I'm feeling really good now. I was feeling a little bit under pressure because Team Goat has been dragging up the rear of the tournament here. But I just got back-to-back Sacreds on my Ultra Nightmare chest, so I'm feeling like that's good luck.
I like that. Good. I like that. Yeah. Gotta embrace the positive in this. You guys definitely having a little bit of a rough start to the events, but you know, we're only a third of the way through, so plenty of time to catch up. Cold Brew, how you feeling? You got the dwarves today, I believe. So what is you got any secret plans in store for us?
He's gonna get a bronze medal.
I'm definitely not getting a bronze medal. I do have a secret. I've got a strategy already set up, and I'm ready to go. And I think you guys will be impressed by this.
Okay, I like it.
Or at least entertained.
Well, I mean, you know, this is one of the things, right? Every time we have one of these conversations, every time we have one of these events, it's so surprising to see how these things play out, because you don't realize what each faction is missing until you really start diving in and trying to build something with it. And boy, you know, when it comes to Arena, it's such extremes, right? Like maybe actually, Skratch, you're probably, I would say, probably the most veteran Arena player out of this group. We can talk a little bit about whether that gives you an advantage or not. But can you like break down for us and the audience a little bit about like the approach when you build a team from scratch for Arena? Like, what are the things you're looking for? How do you go about doing that? And how does that differ really from building like dungeon teams or something else?
Well, one thing that I'm always saying when you're doing Arena, you gotta be flexible. You gotta have multiple champions designated for that content, because dungeons as well, there are multiple dungeons, each one of them changing. So each one of them requires you to approach it with a different strategy. It's the exact same thing for every single Arena team you see in there, you know. So you gotta have a bit of a different approach for most of them. True, on a general scale, most of them are pretty much gonna require the same thing. If you're gonna go first, just be faster, get that increased attack. If you don't have insane gear to rack them, a buff stripper, a nuker, a second thermometer booster, or instead of it, depending on how well your team is tuned, you can have a CC champion instead, you know. So these are kind of like the key things you need for a successful Arena team. Depending on where exactly you are playing in Arena. At the moment, if Arena is exactly the same how I left it before I went holiday, and you can actually fight the teams that are supposed to be in Bronze in Gold 5 and Platinum Arena, you're pretty much fine with this team to conquer the entire game, you know, in terms of Arena.
Well, this is going to be definitely different from that. I mean, you're talking about the flexibility, and you're right. When you, especially as you hit higher levels, you need to be able to change your offense depending on whether, like there's a hegemon or a warlord or a Kymar on the other team. You're facing Trunda or you're facing, Necred, whatever it is. But in this, you guys are very limited. Not only do you only get to use champions from one faction, but you also got to use the same. You can't change your champions. You can't change your builds. You got to, the only thing we're kind of been allowing is changing the skill priorities. And I imagine many of you are going to be manualing your runs anyway due to the nature of Arena. Maybe, Colbert, maybe you can talk a little bit about what is that limitation really doing to your build strategy here? Because, there's slow teams on defense, there's fast teams on defense. And while the defenses, are going to have that same limitation, it's definitely more pressure, I think, on the offense to be successful.
I feel like it's both, because the defense, that the enemy will be going offensive, so they will know how to counter whatever you're trying to do. And you have to think, okay, what is the best strategy that I can do? And hopefully that works out, even though I know that, let's say Skratch will be, actively trying to counter whatever I'm doing. And, on offense, you go there, and since we'll have multiple targets and multiple teams to beat, I guess what you're trying to do is get as many wins as possible. Hopefully, beat them all. But one thing you didn't mention is the power limitation, which is, I think I am the underdog in this because of that.
First off, it's in the rules. I had the rules written for everybody. It was definitely there. Maybe some people read a little closer than others. Maybe I didn't, make it as noticeable as others. But yeah, that's definitely a big thing. We have a 300,000 player power limit for the four champions you're bringing in. That definitely can have an impact, especially if you want to build a resistance champion. That's very difficult to do with that kind of limitation.
Even if you're not trying to build a resistance champion, if you're running dwarves, every single one of them has insane amounts of resist. And I think one point of resist is 100 power or 90, somewhere there.
Yeah.
And it's you start out with a crazy amount of power before you even start putting on the gear. And then even glyphing one speed, you're trying to notice the points of power that your team is going on, and you're like, oh, am I reaching the limit? It's very tough, I found. At least with the dwarves. I don't know with the other factions. And
But has that been an issue for you, MTG, as you've been building your team? Have you had to worry about the player power limit, or is that not even a thing?
Well, as the current newest account in this competition, I would say it's not really an issue for me. I'm not worried about the power limit. I'm more worried about, can I get more power?
Yeah.
But I will say that there is, when you're fighting Arena, one of the best things you can do for yourself is have multiple teams or multiple situations. And that is something that we are unable to do. So one of the things that I've been torn between is, what team do I actually use?
Yeah.
Because what situations are you trying to prepare for? Do you want to focus on specific ones, or do you want to have a general, overall better strategy, a multi-purpose, or more specific? And so, that's what I've been really talking with my team about, is okay, well, I have come up with some pretty sweet teams that have been honestly more impressive than what I expected. But I don't know what's the best strategic choice to make based on what other people are going to use for their defenses. And I think it's super cool that we're going to get 6 defenses to go against. I think that's going to be really entertaining for everyone, and very interesting for us to have to deal with as well.
Yeah, I definitely was excited to be able to. I would, obviously that wasn't our first plan on this, but I think once we made that change, I think that's going to be good for everybody, and it brings everybody to makes them all involved, and it's going to give you guys at least a little bit more variety of teams to go against. So you may have a style that doesn't work for most teams, but it should work at least against one or two of them, and give you a chance to kind of show what you built there. What is it like what's it been like building defenses for this? I think that's a really curious approach too, because again, you're still limited within that faction. And for you guys, I'm sure some of your best defensive champions are also your best offensive champions. And so figuring out how to, which ways to build that's got to be a bit of a challenge too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely has been. Go ahead, Skratch.
I haven't started yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be exciting to build them. Yeah, it's gonna be a challenge, especially the team power 300k that kind of stops you from achieving some of the goals that you might have in hand. Like if I'm thinking of my normal Platinum Arena defense team, it's probably around 450k player power. So that's half of the power that I gotta cut off.
Significant,
Third place
significant
tier, yeah.
change.
So
You
it's
got to
Just
come
so
back
people
down to
that
the
are watching,
normal
yeah.
levels. Scratch. Come
Yeah.
back down here with the rest of us.
If anybody is watching right now, 450k is like Hydra teams. Okay, 6 champions, not 4. so Scratch with 450 on his arena team is like it's like he's using 6 champions.
6.5 because I'm passing the 400k limit.
Or if you're on my account, 8. So
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I found that I was thinking of using the new champion because we're playing on the test server. The new champion Gofred for the dwarves
Sure.
was like an interesting thing to do, and he hasn't been showcased yet. I think on the live server because he's a brand new champion from non-voids, and he's got that very interesting. If an ally is about to get killed, he blocks it, and that is huge. That is huge. I would say, for a defensive team, but I'm still thinking about the team that I'll go in by the end, and definitely he is one of the options.
Well, I'm really interested to see what kind of. I think Goffred is an excellent choice. Honestly, I think definitely somebody you want to consider using.
You're gonna have to use that one. Like you don't have many champions in that faction that are blocking you like that. So I actually had no idea about him. So good point that you actually made me look at him, so I know what to expect. But I think you're gonna have to use something like that. Yeah.
It's
Would
interesting.
be silly not to.
It's interesting because we got all these. We obviously have all these new champions and stuff, but each of your factions has like I don't know. I don't know if they have a fatal flaw, but they definitely have something clearly missing. The dwarves.
Oh, the bans and everything.
Well, the bans definitely have a major impact, right? Like I know the dwarves are going to be missing Trunda. High elves are going to be missing Essos. The high elves we already saw in the dragon. The lack of real AOE, strong damage dealers can be a bit of an issue. Obviously, now you don't have to worry as much about affinity, so it really opens up some possibilities there. But I know dwarves lack a lot of speed and turn meter stuff, and that could definitely be an issue. Undead, I'm not exactly sure what. They seem to have most everything, so I'm not as concerned about Scratch's squad. But it's interesting though. Like, how are you guys? Like, have you noticed any major deficits in your faction that you're gonna have to overcome? And do you have any plans to go about doing that? I don't know if you want to start with that, Cold Brew, since I put you on the spot.
Look,
there.
I had a plan. Should I spoil it or should I leave it for tomorrow when we talk about it during live? It's up to you if you wanna have it today.
Let's not spoil all of it, but maybe you can give us some general ideas of like stuff and approaches.
Like I had a speed team almost in mind to use instead of going for a go second team, which would be, I guess, the better choice with stuff like Brogni and Tormin. And I had a speed team in mind, but in the end, I couldn't go for it, and I'll tell you guys tomorrow why I couldn't go for it, and I'll keep that as a teaser for people watching the video to actually go to the stream. And I've noticed that there's a lot of people tuning to the streams, like 1,000 people yesterday for the spider one, which is very good.
It's been pretty wild. We keep off, every stream we're giving away 1,000 gems as well, which is a good reason to stop by. But I'm shocked at how much people are, tuning in live. I think it's fantastic and really fun. What about you, MTG? I know you had some, damage dealing issues with the dragon approach, but obviously without affinity, you have champions like Yannicka, like Royal Huntsman. Are you going to be able to, you think, really bring the ruckus? Because High Elves is a good faction for Arena. I feel like
it is. It definitely is. Like High Elves and Undead are some of the best factions for Arena. And Dwarves to a certain extent too, but the Dwarves, I feel like they really get their power when they're paired with another faction. Whereas I think there's a lot of good teams in High Elves and Undead that can just be in that faction with not as many weaknesses. I think maybe the issue for High Elves is that the strategies there are pretty straightforward. Like, I don't know how like unexpected my teams are gonna be. A team. Excuse me. We're only allowed one team, but whichever one I end up choosing. But so like High Elves has been very interesting to work with. Like they definitely have a lot of weaknesses. Mainly the number of champions in the faction is a huge weakness. Like we have not gotten, other than Deliana, we haven't gotten very many new champions in that faction. Same with Skinwalkers.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I didn't know before this competition was how like spirit heavy High Elves is.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like High Elves is more spirit heavy than most of the other factions, which is a strange aspect to that really never occurred to me before working with this. But yeah, you definitely have some options in High Elves, and I'm looking forward to testing it out. But yeah, it's been a very interesting challenge so far.
I can imagine.
And like, at least with this, we have a little bit more time. Like after when I was prepping the video for Dragon, I like shaved 10 seconds off my time. So
yeah,
we had more time there. I think we could have done better, but yeah, High Elves pretty limiting in some areas of the game, but in other aspects, I feel like they're pretty well set up for Arena.
Yeah, time is definitely a major factor in this. I don't think people realize how hard it is to, create, build, test, and, optimize these kinds of teams without having a lot of time to get in there. And, like I keep telling people, we all got real lives outside of this too. So it's not, you can't just drop everything to make this, as perfect as possible all the time. Well, Skratch, you were about to say something in there?
Yeah, just as a spoiler, MTG, are you going to use Apothecary or...
Apothecary?
I mean, it's like the well-known undercover legendary in that faction. Maybe you just spoil it a little bit. Are you planning to use him or not really? You bench him.
Well, I almost used a rare in my Dragon team, so we might as well get one in Arena as well.
There you go.
Why not? Right? Why not?
What about you, Skratch? Have you found any surprises really with the undead faction that you weren't really anticipating?
For Arena, not necessarily. I mean, I'm well aware that what's lacking from this faction, but I feel like there are a lot of solid champions for Arena here. I have Vogot, I have Seeker, I have Necret, I have Skartorsis, I have Jack, I have Elegias, Rotos, Bloodgorge even.
That's a good squad.
So many options.
So I have so many options for Arena here. So I'm not really concerned about creating an offense-defense team. Clearly they banned Sifi. Probably I would have had an easier life in terms of offense with Sifi being in the team, maybe even for defense. But overall, I feel like it's very solid the way it is. Like Demon Spawns and Dead, the top two factions for Arena, in the entire game, my opinion, offense, defense wise, because you have Duchess, you have Candrophone, you have all the crazy champions in there. Here you have Sifi, you have Rotos, you have Necret, so these are some of the strongest champions in the entire game, and we're talking about Arena. So I definitely have zero regrets for picking.
Would you have banned something else if you were?
Yeah, I mean, you guys made a massive...
I banned Masha.
Yeah,
I banned Masha.
You guys made a big mistake with that. You're supposed to take out Necret. Or if you guys were playing it a bit differently to take out Crypt King, that would have killed our spider comps. Like we would have had a 1 minute and 30 second spider team maybe with the ultimate garlic. Because we don't have a lot of HP. But true, we could have made something out of Night Revenants actually with a fusion champion. I forgot about him. But overall, I feel like Necret was a big hit and miss, basically, kind of like the same thing we've done with Xavier. We completely forgot about Xavier. I can't believe it that we forgot about Xavier.
Yeah. She was so good there, and
she's gonna be good in Fire Knight as well. So I'm actually expecting you guys.
The Mashal pick that I did was because he's very strong in all areas of the game. So
true, yeah, Hydra and all the rest, yeah.
Hydra especially, he can be used in dungeons to give some very quick times with all those buffs that he gives. He's an all-rounder.
Yeah.
That's how I thought about going with the ban, and the same thing with Sifi. But it was such a hard faction to ban. It was the same with Demon Spawn, really.
It is, yeah.
Like, who are you gonna ban? Who are you gonna leave?
Yeah.
That's pretty. It's
Well, I want to just call out, like, you heard it here first from Skratch, the arena expert. Elagaeus is a viable champion for arena, so pull him out of your vaults, guys.
He might be for this, what I'm doing right now. It might not be for the actual game, but it might be an option here, you know? Or maybe it's a 5-head strategy to confuse you.
yeah.
Maybe.
Skratch loves playing the mind game, so that's definitely a possibility there for sure. I was wondering if you guys, you know, as far as like when you're approaching this, there's a little bit of strategy, right? Like as far as we score the points on this, whoever gets the most wins will be the top, you know, performer in this, right? You'll get the gold medal. Second most wins gets silver. But we do have a tiebreaker in there in overall time, you know, that you spend, right? So the speed of every run added up will add to that. And that's a tiebreaker. Is that a consideration at all in your approach, either offense or defense? Because I'm not sure. I honestly have no idea how this is going to play out, right? I don't know if all you guys are going to get 2 wins, or you know, one of you maybe you're going to all get 5 wins. I have no idea how this is going to go. And so I just threw that in there just so we could have a tiebreaker, because I figured that might be an issue. But is that something that you're even considering in this, or is the full goal just to win as many fights as possible, regardless of how long it takes?
Win as many fights as possible, as fast as possible. That's my goal. And don't get beaten in defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's only so much you can do with the times, right? Because you only have your one team. If we had, you know, 3, 4, 5 teams to pick from according to the situation, then that'll be a different story entirely. But, you know, you only have your one team. You have to fight all the teams. It's not like we have a refresh button, right?
Right.
So I think that when we're in the fight, it might be a consideration of, I could do this here for a faster win, or I could do this. But I think that it's great that we have that tiebreaker, because I think that could definitely come up. You know, arena offense is definitely favors the offense player more than the defense player. So I think that it could be very likely that we end up with a tie. So it's good that we have that ability to do the tiebreaker. But I think we only have so many options probably as far as what times we get.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What about you, Coldbrew? Have you built your defense in any, you know, like, are you trying to do a stall defense, or is it just like, no, we just need a win. We just need to stop them.
I need the wins. I'm not gonna go for time, because time, I think it's more for teams that can speed boost and speed lead. If you're comfortable with that, then I think you're also comfortable with having a quicker. You get your turn first. You do your skills, and if your plan works, you kill them. Right? If it's a go second team, you have to wait it out. You go for tankier setups. That's a longer fight. So getting the wins is more important in my. In my thought process. It all will show until tomorrow.
That's very true.
When I've actually finished the teams.
Very true. It won't show till tomorrow. That's 100% accurate. I'm super excited to see what happens. I got one last question for you guys before I got 2 last questions. I'm sorry. Last question. Are you guys planning on manualing, or do you think you're going to be full autoing throughout? Everybody's going to be manualing their fights? Okay, that was just me being curious as to how you're going to go about it.
I'm not leaving it to chance on offense. Not leaving it to chance. If they want to attack, if they do it right, no.
Well, then
I'm just happy that Coldbrew cannot use Paragon. That's all I'm saying. I'm happy that he cannot use Paragon.
I have to. I'm surprised. Yeah, you know, I didn't think about that, but that might have been the ban to make for the Dark Elves faction.
Imagine Dark Elves with the just Paragon there defense.
A 300 player power Paragon playing the only defense on that team. Yeah, I feel like that's a possibility.
It would have been a fun thing, though.
That would have been great. That would have been great. Okay, real last question, guys, for you. You gotta ask. who's going to win this thing?
Yeah.
How do you feel like the standings are going to shake out here?
You mean who's
I
gonna
don't
be
know, man.
second? If it's Skratch or MTG?
Yeah, that's sure.
And third, it will have to be. I don't know. It will be a fight between them. Who's second? But first, you know who's gonna be. It's me.
Okay.
he's so confident, you see?
So confident.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The shortest team.
Your weakness.
Sorry, go ahead. What did you say?
Your overconfidence will be your weakness.
Ooh, ooh.
I really hope so.
I'm making a comeback here, so watch out.
Oh, I like it. The Jedi
We'll
with
see.
the prophecy here.
We'll see.
All right. Well,
We'll
that's
see when the time comes.
I mean, Skratch, you got any last words you want to toss in there?
Yeah, just guys, learn how to watch from the rear because that's what it's gonna be tomorrow. That's about it.
Well, there you go, guys. You heard it. We're going to have 3 gold medals tomorrow, apparently, as each one of these is going to be finishing first place. This has been great. Thank you guys for coming on, talking, obviously, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I think it's going to be an awesome time. I should, I don't want to spoil things, but I got a little surprise for you guys too once we get in stream. So, just a little thank you from me to you guys for being a part of this and doing everything. So. Yeah, cool. So should be really fun, guys. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. I think by the time this goes out, it'll actually be tune in that day, because what day is today? Today's the 14th. So on the 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and what is that? 6 p.m. in London, I believe it is. We're gonna be going live with the arena event. All these fine competitors are going to be competing. The faction games are already underway. It's been very interesting to watch. Very interesting to watch so far, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow.
Team CSI.
So, Team CSI is in first place right now. They are in first place right now. Can they hold on to their massive lead, or will Goat
Or will I disappoint?
or Skranubis
I hope not.
jump in?
I hope not. I hope not.
Well, guys, thanks for coming by. Don't forget to subscribe until next we meet. Oh, make sure to subscribe to these guys. Hit up their channels. I have their links down below. Please do that, guys. Till next we meet. I'm the Deadwood Jedi.